What's up, folks? I am in downtown Danville, Illinois, which is in Vermilion County. Not too far from Champaign-Urbana, a couple of hours outside of Chicago, about an hour and a half outside of Indianapolis. And I'm here visiting some family. My uncle is having a surprise 70th, and so we're in town hanging out with him, surprising him for that. But I said, since I'm back in Danville, Illinois, a place where my family migrated during one of the many migrations of African Americans out of the South who were escaping Jim Crow up here to Illinois. I said, since I'm here, I might as well highlight some things. So enjoy the ride. Here in Danville, Illinois, you will find Abraham Lincoln everywhere. And that is because for a good amount of his law career, he practiced right here in Danville, Illinois. I want to say it was from 1847 to 1859 is when he was here practicing law. And it does make me wonder, did he gain some of his political stance right here in Danville, Illinois? And so, you know, Danville, Illinois is a small town. It has been ravaged by industries that have been leaving. Most recent is Quaker Oats. It's not there anymore. I have a lot of family members that still live here, grandmother, cousins, aunts, uncles. And the town is struggling from a financial standpoint. It's definitely regressed in that regard. But, you know, there's good people that are here, and I can attest to that because I know a lot of folks that live here that go and they work hard on a daily basis, and they're just trying to make the best living in which they can. So my thoughts and my opinions are obviously going to be skewed because of the simple fact, well, they're not going to be skewed, but they're going to just be my own subjective opinions because of the fact that I've spent so many years coming back here after we moved to Tennessee and just knowing so many people that have been influential in the community. And so, again, you can't go anywhere here in Danville, Illinois without seeing Abraham Lincoln somewhere. So this is Vermilion Street, and it leads into downtown. And so this is like one of the main strips right here. You have the Vermilion County War Museum right there. Over here, you have the administration building as well. And this is Main Street, Danville, Illinois. And so this would be the place where things would be jumping, right? Like this is just Main Street, USA, from an economic standpoint and things like that. And again, like I mentioned, industry was here, and there were a lot of people that were coming out of the South that were looking to create a different life for themselves in the Midwest, escape things that were happening negatively as far as black folks from a Jim Crow standpoint, and those laws that were impeding on black folks' ability to gain some type of economic prowess. I want to show you all a couple of the things that are down here. One thing is really cool is that they do pay homage to the celebrities in Danville, and we're going to check out some of them. You have Helen Morgan right here. Some of these you are going to know. Some of them you're not going to know. Donald O'Connor right there. Then you have Gene Hackman. Now, a lot of people do know Gene Hackman. He is a great actor, but he's from here in Danville, Illinois. And then you have Dick and Jerry Van Dyke, funny guys, from right here in Danville, Illinois. As you see right there, Celebrities of Danville. And then you have Bobby Short right over here. And so whenever I do travel to places, I always try to highlight whatever the city has highlighted in order to bring awareness to their local celebrities and people that kind of put them on the map and made them proud. And this is the example that Danville, Illinois has of their local celebrities. So it's pretty dope. All right, let's see what else we got here. There is a theater that's over here that I do remember as a kid, but the marquee wasn't as bright then as it is now. But when you do go to some small downtown areas, you do see some of the theaters that have withstood the test of time, and this Fisher Theater is one of them. It says right there, celebrating 140 years, featuring the great Dubois. Doors open at 6 p.m. So you can check out the old school way of doing things, not purchasing tickets online, but walking up and actually having to hand your money right there and talk to a real life person right there. Yes, time has changed, folks, but this is the way that they used to do it. You see some of the old buildings that are here. Rothery Jewelry, established in 1971, right there. They're still here, functioning. And there's an old building right there. It's called the Adams Building. Doesn't look like it's been used for years. And then there's Honest Abe right there. No, there's Uncle Sam. It's an antique store. Here's an antique store, Glory Days, Antiques and Uniques, right here in Danville, Illinois, downtown. You cannot have a legitimate downtown without having an antique store. And Danville has a couple of those. This building right here is called the Dale Building. It used to be the Vermilion Opera House, and it was constructed in 1873. The building in 1914 was then purchased by a person named John Dale. And John Dale took that building over after numerous fires took place. And so it's still standing around. It is like a hallmark in the city as it relates to, construction in the area, buildings in the area. And this is another interesting kind of gathering place that they do have. And this is some very interesting art that I saw the last time I came here, and it represents the city of Danville. It's called Danville USA Sculpture, and it identifies several notable citizens from Danville. Some of these people are Dr. William Fithian, Joseph Uncle Joe Cannon, Catherine Rudolph, Lottie Jones, some indigenous leaders, Red Ruffing, who was a baseball player, Charles Bradley, Lucy Woodbury, Laura Lee, Jasper Winslow, Captain William P. Black, and he was a company commander during the Civil War as well. And he and John Black are the only two brothers in U.S. history to win the Congressional Medal of Honor. So this actual site where we're at right here is called the Temple, and it was completed in 1901. So this area right here was called the Temple, and this entranceway provides us just a little bit more information via this placard on what it is. As you see, it's right across the street from the Dell building. So just let you know how historic this specific area is. It was completed in 1901. The Temple building occupied this site for 100 years. In 1879, members of the Olive Branch Lodge bought the corner lot at Vermilion and North Streets for a new Masonic Temple. The building was financed and built in 1900 to 1901 by two prominent Danville businessmen and politicians, Mr. Kimbrough and then Mr. Platt. The architect was Fred G. Brown, and he designed the 6-story limestone and brick structure in classical revival style. Commercial space occupied the lower floors. Offices were on the 3rd through 5th, and the Masonic Lodge on the 6th. A fire in 1987 and the subsequent decay resulted in the building razed in 2001. All that remains today is the arch, which was the monumental entrance to the upper stories of the building. So this was a good way to preserve this space and also to provide education on it right here. So this was identified as the Temple. So right now we're going to walk over here to another mural that I'm familiar with, and it's related to the local fire department. And it was an African American division that they had here in Danville, Illinois, that made history. So this mural identifies Illinois' first all African American fire station. And so this is huge history, right? It identifies Illinois, the state of Illinois, the Fighting Illini, the land of Lincoln, the first all African American fire station. And this mural pays homage to it. They do have a QR code right here that does provide information. So that's a beautiful thing, is that you don't have to just come here to see the mural. You can actually hit that QR code and get more information about it. So it says Engine House Number 2 served as a station for African American firefighters from 1898 to 1963, when all fire halls were racially integrated. The firefighters of Number 2 provided 65 years of outstanding service to the whole community. The hall was a gathering spot for local citizens. Many of the youth went on to serve in the community. The station still stands at 705 North Walnut Street, looking much as it did in 1898, although the station is now closed. The legend of its many heroes and their dedication to excellence endures. So that's what's up. That's what's up. As you see right there, Engine House Number 2. And the crazy thing about this, I don't know if it's necessarily crazy. I think it may be somewhat common, especially when we talk about history of black folks, is that I had no earthly idea that this was part of the history here in Danville, Illinois, as much as I visit, lived. It was never brought up, you know, and I don't think it's the fact that people weren't necessarily or aren't necessarily interested, but it's kind of hidden. It's right here along this alleyway, right there. And so it's kind of off in the cut. But if they had a historical marker for it, then of course it would make it that much easier. So nevertheless, definitely glad it's here. And as you see up top, there's a picture of 3 men that is connected to the wall. I'm sure that those are 3 brothers that were part of this house, this fire station rather. So, in Illinois first, right here in Danville, Illinois. All right, let's go check out some more stuff. So I had to put my hood on because I left my toboggan in the car, and I don't know if you noticed, but I have a bald head. And so that means I am exposed to the elements all the way and do not plan on going back to North Carolina getting sick or being sick. But it can happen quickly, so I gotta rock this right now because it felt like it just dropped 5 to 10 degrees in like a matter of minutes. But we're back here on the main strip, downtown Danville. And right now I'm going to walk over to the law office where Abraham Lincoln used to practice. So we'll see the building that the 16th president, Abraham Lincoln, Honest Abe, used to walk to on a daily basis when he was practicing law here. So let's check that out. Towns like Danville, Illinois needs these spaces to be revitalized so individuals can come and enjoy, you know, the things that they used to do, and not only that, but it can employ people as well. If you want to know what downtown Danville used to look like, this is it. So these are pictures of downtown Danville back in its heyday. See the square. Here's another. You had drugstores. You had clothing stores, shoes. Got a couple more pictures right here. Looks like they had a trolley that came through downtown right here. JCPenney is identified over there. Lincoln's Danville Friends. Again, like I said, Abraham Lincoln's everywhere. So it says right here, not all of Abraham Lincoln's time was spent on the legal business. When in Danville, he visited his friend Oliver L. Davis in his home on Vermilion Street, which is of course where we're at. Davis was a floor manager at the Chicago Convention when Lincoln was nominated for his presidency. Okay? And so this right here identifies a different side of Lincoln's life versus what it is that most people probably know around here from his business and the legal aspect of life. All right, so right now we're at the Vermilion County Courthouse. Now this is not the actual courthouse that Abraham Lincoln was in, but this is the space where the building once stood. And it says that Lincoln attended court in the building that stood on this spot from 1841 until elected president. He was involved in more than 200 legal procedures in Vermilion County, Illinois. Over 200. So this would be the landscape minus all of the buildings that you do see here. But this would be the space where President Lincoln would walk and take care of over 200 court proceedings during his tenure here up until his presidency. So this lets you know just how ingrained President Lincoln was here in Vermilion County, which is why it's on the National Register of Historic Places, because of its significance to not only Vermilion County, but in my personal opinion, American history. All right, so if you're in the state of Illinois, mostly like Chicago, because of the influence on the Italian immigration. Sorry, they're doing some construction over here. Then you know the importance of Italian beefs in the state of Illinois. And this is no different being here in Danville, Illinois. As you see, the pub, famous Italian beef. So when you think about like Philly and their cheesesteaks in the state of Illinois, this is equivalent to just that, which is the Italian beefs. I haven't had any here in Danville, but I have had some in Chicago, and they are pretty tasty. So you see some of these dive bars, and that will be the food of choice. In the South, you got chicken wings. In Philly, you have Philly cheesesteaks. In Illinois, Chicago, maybe other areas as well, maybe Milwaukee. I mean, I'm not 100% for sure, but you do have the Italian beefs. Those are sandwiches, and they're really, really tasty. So if you had a Windbreaker Jacket back in the day, this was the home of the Windbreakers. This specific building right here was the home of the Windbreaker Jackets. And I'm not gonna lie, I of course had a Windbreaker Jacket. And this was the home of it, right here. John Rissam and Son, America's most famous jacket. American soldiers home and abroad benefited from the patriotic devotion to excellence from the men and women employed by the Rissam and Son Company of Chicago, Danville, and Westville. Local workers produced over 300,000 jackets for World War II Army personnel. Even on weekends, production continued as workers completed items to be used by the Red Cross. When peacetime returned, the famous Windbreaker Jacket became a favorite worldwide. So it happened right here in this building, you all. Home of the Windbreaker, America's most famous jacket. And again, like I said, I had a couple of them. I'm sure most of you had a Windbreaker jacket too. You know, everything comes back around, so Windbreaker jackets, I'm sure, are going to be making a comeback here pretty soon. So be on the lookout for it. And when it does, you know, this was the home of the famous Windbreaker Jacket, located in Vermilion County, Danville, Illinois. Some of you may even have those old Windbreaker jackets in boxes up in your attic or over your grannies or aunties or great grannies' houses or your mom or pops. So, you know, break them out to see where it said it was made at. It could potentially be made right here in Danville, Illinois. All right, I had to take a coffee break and it came to Obsidian Coffee, which is here in an old historic building, of course. And it is absolutely amazing. The vibe is cool. The owner is named Tyler. He is a native to Danville, Illinois, and he moved away to Arizona. And now he is back and trying to make his mark in the local business here in Danville, Illinois. And this coffee is really, really good. So if you stop in, make sure you let them know that Frederick said to stop by from History Before Us. Got to promote local businesses. All right, folks, that's it from Danville, Illinois. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. And also don't forget to share. Peace.